Well, hello everyone. It is day 17, I believe, I think, of the Christmas countdown, and we're going to try and get back on track. So I think I found a really cool pattern for today. It's a Sanrio character, I believe, and it's by Rin Meow 21. And it's so funny that I came across this morning because I was looking at Wonder Crochet's website, and her favorite characters are the Sanrio characters. So I Googled Sanrio characters, and, it gives you the little cartoon images and stuff. And I saw the little Tuxedo Sam, and I'm like, that is so cute. I could probably figure something out on my own without having to have someone's pattern. Then I go on Instagram, and there it is. Do you think I'm being tracked by Google? So, the only issue that I can see right off the bat with this pattern, it seems to be like the instructions are pretty good as far as the rows, from what I can tell without trying it. There are 39 rounds in this pattern, so it's not a super quick one, but I don't believe it's going to take a long time. Plus you have to make the mouth, the arms, the legs, a little bow, and a hat. The problem that I see is there's no assembly instructions, but the picture is very clear, and I think I can figure out where they go. Now, the arms and legs look like you could crochet them in if you had the stitch counts and everything. So I think it's something that when you make it, if you run a string of yarn up the, for your first stitch of each round, that when you get to the rows where things belong, you can track stitch counts and make notes. So I might try that. So what you will need, this is him. He's so cute. What you're going to need is blue, white, yellow, and red. I have that here. Of course, your polyfill. I have some here. Not sure if it's going to be enough yet or not. And some eyes. It does not say what size eye, but this person uses a 2.5 millimeter hook. I will be using a 5 millimeter hook. So even if they told me the size eye, it wouldn't be right. So I'm going to be using Azure. I have a tiny little bit of poppy left, and that should be more than enough to do the bow and the hat. Yellow and some white. And then I will need a tiny little bit of pink. I am unsure whether or not I'm going to use acrylic or the plush yarn for the blush on the cheeks. So I would rather have assembly instructions, but like I said, that's a pretty good picture. There aren't any progress pictures or anything. I have two different size eyes with me. The eyes that they use look kind of small, which makes it cute. So I have 12s and 16s sitting here, and we'll see which one it is going to be. So we are going to get started and see what happens with this. And this one feels nice and soft, so it's going to be a pleasure to work with. So I have my compression gloves on today because my hands have been a little achy. So you're going to start off with your magic circle and 8 single crochets. And then an increase round. So looking at this, the widest round, and there are several of them, is 60. So this is going to be a good size. We'll see. Okay, we're already on round 3, and it is another increase round. Okay, so we've completed round 7, and as you saw, I had to frog out that last round because I don't know what I did, but I was going to be 3 stitches short, and my round 6, the stitch count was right. So the next couple rounds, there's no increases. We're just doing 3 rounds. I'm making notes. 3 rounds of the same stitch count. So, see if our hexagon starts to turn into a circle. Now, if you stagger your even number rounds, like if it's 4 and then an increase, if you do start with 2 and an increase, and then go 4, increase, 4, increase, and at the end of your round, you end with 2, you're going to get more of a circle by staggering on the even rows. Just throwing that out there. You don't get this not so round shape. Okay, so we've made it through round 10, starting to take a little bit of a shape. It's looking a tiny little bit rounder. Yeah. So round 11 is an increase round. And then we're going to do 7 rounds of the same stitch count. And then another increase round. So that is where we are at so far. Back to work. Okay, so I just completed round 18 and I started running my string line. Not sure it's going to help because I don't quite know where the white is going to land, and we need the white to be centered between the arms. Like, I don't know where to put the eyes, other than it says between round 16 and 17, 8 stitches apart, but I'm not putting them in yet because I don't know where my white's going to land. And a couple of more rounds, then we start putting in white for the belly. And hopefully we don't run this shifting thing where the belly will look twisted. So we'll see. You can already see that my string line is going at a slant. So it definitely shifts. So round 19 is our last increase round. We are increasing to 60 stitches. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rounds with color changes with 60 stitches. So like I said, this one's not going to be a quick one. And I probably made this too long, but I didn't know how big it's going to be. That's 3. Okay, so I have completed through round 23. So I got a few things of white. Not a very clean line. I think I'm gonna have to do some top stitching on there, but I think it's time to put the eyes in, because if we wait until the instructions are given, we'll have a little hole in the bottom for 6 decreases, and we don't want to do that. So it says in round 16 and 17. So round 20 is our first round with white. So we go 20, 19, 18, 17. All right. And it should be 8 stitches apart. So let's look at the picture. And it looks like it's just above the first stitches of the white is where the eyes go. So my little guy is not going to be such a little guy. So I'm not sure if I should use the 12s or the 16s. Let me mark that. Let's see. Looks a little silly right now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, I am around too high. It looked funny. It looked way different than the picture does. So those are 12s. And that's a 16. But they look really small. Oh, gosh, I don't know. Let's go big. We're going to go big. Now they don't look far enough apart with the bigger eye, like that. Oh, gosh, I don't want to ruin it and waste all this yarn. All right, so it looks silly right now, but they're in. We are beyond the point of no return on the eyes. All right, so rounds 24 and 25 are exactly the same. So we're going to work on those. This thing's gonna be huge. Okay, so 21. All right, we have completed through round 27. We have 12 more. We are going to be starting our first decrease round. It's not looking like a whole lot yet. As I did the color change rounds, and we'll still be doing for the next 3 rounds, I've been cutting and tying as I go. So that's what my inside looks like. And we're still traveling. Our string line is still traveling. So, I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure it out for crocheting in the wings and the legs. We'll see. All right, so we are moving on to round 28. This is a decrease round and a color change round at the same time. So we got to pay attention. So we have 8 singles and a decrease times 2. Okay. So 2 more rounds with color changes. And I've noticed something very clever about this pattern. So you know how when you're trying to like crochet something and you want it to be centered, but it shifts and, you know, like goes at a slant? This is looking pretty centered for the most part. Me still looking at it flat. Very clever. So one side is shifting, as we can see where the beginning of our round is. See how that's going at an angle? So what I've noticed that she's done here is when she's doing her color change, because that first side is automatically shifting, when she's trying to expand it, she's only expanding on one side, like increasing the number of white stitches on one end by 1. And then the next round, it's not an increased. And then the next round, it's increased by 1, you know, because the whole thing is shifting. So rather than going from, say, 4 stitches to 6 stitches, then to 8, the increases are on one side, if that makes any sense at all. But that is what I have noticed. And that's one of the things I love about doing so many different designers' patterns, because you learn so many tricks. This is very interesting. I'm curious to see how it's going to look when we're done. So 2 rounds, no decreases. And then we really start massively decreasing. So, okay, we've completed round 30. Still doesn't look like much. That's the last of the white. We have 9 rounds left, and they are 8 of those are decrease rounds. Our next round is back loop only. But we're done with the white. And nowhere does it say to stuff. So we're going to have to start adding some stuffing into this pretty soon, because if we go all the way to the end, we're in trouble. But nowhere does it tell us to stuff. So you might want to write a reminder because if you're anything like me, you get ultra focused on what the instructions say to do, and then it's too late. So we're gonna keep plugging away. And I think this is going to be, oops, I forgot to carry my string up for a few rounds. So I think this will be the last one that I do the string line. And if we were crocheting in our feet, I believe this would be the round to do that on. So I'll probably do a couple of more rounds and then start stuffing it and see what we come up with here. Okay, so we have decreased down to 48 stitches now. I'm going to add a little bit of stuffing. It's going to take a lot of stuffing. All right, we'll stop there for now. Still doesn't look like much. Kind of got Grimace vibes going on. Okay, decrease again. So that felt like it took forever. But we're done with the body. I still have my string line in there. He's all stuffed. He sits nice and flat for now. Now we have to make the arms, the legs, the beak, and the hat. So this one is not a quick project, but it's not a hard one. I just wish we had assembly instructions. Okay, so yellow for the mouth and the legs, and let's see what happens here. Supposed to leave a long tail to sew. And it looks like it just gets sewn on with folding it. It's not very big. Okay, so it has a beak. Looks a little better now. Was interesting. Okay. The other thing that is yellow, since we have yellow out, is the feet. Okay, so the way the legs are made, you don't crochet them in. So, string line was a waste of time, at least for the feet. So once again, we need a long tail for sewing. This is not a nice yellow. All right, so I am going to do the other one off camera. And, how did they sew that on? This one's going to be interesting to figure out. So we'll be back. Okay, what a workout. I went ahead and did both feet, both wings, the bow tie, and the hat, and attached them all because, well, you know, I got carried away. But here is my Tuxedo Sam. Big difference from the beginning when it didn't look like much. I would definitely prefer a pattern that tells you where things go instead of guessing. Fortunately, it said where the eyes go. So I kind of used the eyes as a guide. And looking at the picture, it looked like the feet went right up to the edge of the white belly. So I lined up the sides of them with the white belly. Then the wings, it doesn't say to crochet them shut. It doesn't say whether or not to stuff them. It actually doesn't say to stuff the plushie. But I crocheted them closed. The feet I did not, but I think you could. So I think it is possible if you run your string line and you count your stitches on the first one for where you place things, and then you can duplicate your work. So for the wings, it didn't say, but on the picture, it looked like it was 4 stitches back from the eye and down to the bottom of the eye. Now, of course, my eyes are bigger, I'm pretty sure, than the ones in the picture. But, so that's how I did the wings. I just lined them up. And then the bow, it looked like it was 2 rows down. Mine came out a little big because my red's a little fluffy, but I am good with it. I think he turned out pretty good. So, that concludes day 17, if I have my days right, of our Christmas countdown. And I hope to be back again for day 18. We'll see what happens. I didn't plan ahead very well with those markets. All right, you guys, I will see you in the next video.